All right, so in today's video, what we're gonna talk about are the first couple of steps you can literally take the day you decide to start a private practice. One of the things that frustrated me so much was I wanted to start a private practice, but I didn't know, what does that mean? What is the first thing I actually do? And so my whole mission over the last few years has been to make videos that give people step-by-step instructions on how to do things in private practice. No more gatekeeping, right? No more keeping things a secret, but what do you literally need to do? So if you have decided to start a private practice and you want to know what you can do tomorrow because you have some free time, this video is going to be for you. That's what we're going to dive into today. But before we do, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe down below. Hit the thumbs up button on this video. Only if you want to though, there is no pressure. So the very first thing you need to do is get signed up with malpractice insurance. This is crucial, this is critical, this is non-negotiable. All right, this is what's gonna protect you from being sued and lawsuits and things like that. Now, the process of getting signed up is actually quite easy. It takes about an hour or less to fill out the application, oftentimes much less than an hour. And then within 24 hours of filling out that application, you're typically covered. All right. Now, the question is then, what malpractice insurance do I choose? There's tons to choose from. It can be overwhelming. My suggestion is to use what's recommended by your professional association. For example, for social workers, we have the NASW, National Association of Social Workers. They recommend a particular malpractice for social workers. So a great starting point for finding good malpractice insurance is to go to your professions association's website, see what they recommend, and perhaps signing up for them. One thing I forgot to mention in the beginning is that you're probably going to make mistakes. I might say terms that you've never heard of before. You might need to research a little bit. That's okay. This is new for you. You're just learning. This is your first time doing it. You will learn. It will be okay. You'll get up and running. All right. With that being said, the next thing I would do is to set up what's called a DBA. This is doing business as. You can get an EIN or an employer identification number associated with that DBA, and then you can open up a bank account with that EIN. Now, this is where it gets really confusing because a DBA is not a business entity. A business entity is something like a PLLC, an LLC, a PC, something like that. Now, if you know that you want to start a group practice at some point down the line, you want to hire people, you want to grow, then establishing a business entity like a PLLC or a PC might be a great place to start. It does take more work, a bit more resources, and it does take longer. But if you know in the future that's what you want to do, it's always better to get that started earlier. However, if you just want to get started, you want to do it quickly, obtaining a DBA usually takes 24 to 48 hours. I think the fees are relatively low, especially when you compare it to something like a PLLC or an LLC. I am in New York State, so what I'll do is I'll leave a link down below to the website that you would use to obtain a DBA in the state of New York. If you're in New York, great, that'll be a great place to start. And if you're in another state, at least you'll see what I'm talking about, and then you can find it as it pertains to your state. And this leads me perfectly into step number 3, because a lot of this is probably confusing. And to be honest with you, even as I talk about it now, after establishing my own business entity, I still find myself confused. And this is why I would set up a consultation with an attorney and or an accountant, preferably both. And the reason for this is once we start our own business, our own private practice, a lot starts to fall out of our scope of practice pretty quickly. So for example, you're gonna be running your own business, you're gonna be getting paid, you're gonna have to do your own taxes. You're gonna need to call an accountant to figure out how to do that. What do you need to hold back for your state? How do you pay your own quarterly taxes? Do you need to pay quarterly taxes, right? So you can see, even as I talk with you today, there's a lot to consider. And as setting up an initial call with an accountant will at least help you get started. Same thing goes with an attorney. You need to be aware of the telehealth laws in your state. You need to have an intake packet that's well written, and usually an attorney is the best one to do that. So writing out your informed consents, your release of information, making sure all your bases are covered. And again, an initial consultation call with an attorney can help clear most of that up right off the bat. So the first thing you need to do is find a good attorney and a good accountant. The first way to do this is word of mouth. So are there other colleagues that you know who've contacted an attorney? You should ask them. Are there other colleagues in the profession who have an accountant that they recommend? Word of mouth is a great way to go. If you don't have any word of mouth, the next thing you want to do is look for an attorney or an accountant, both that specialize in the field of mental health, and in particular, helping therapists in private practice. You'll be surprised, there are actually attorneys and accountants who specialize in both of those things, and at least having familiarity with that field is going to be crucial. And if you want to go a step further, sometimes these people will give you a free consultation call. So setting up a free consult to see if they're a good fit is another way to find a good attorney and or accountant. And the way I would initially set up this consultation call is by drafting a simple email. For the attorney, I would say something like, I'm a therapist in private practice. I'm just now starting the process of opening my own practice. I would like to set up an initial consultation call to make sure I'm following all the proper steps and following the legal guidelines. Is this something you can help with? And if so, can we set up a consultation call? And the accountant is going to be very similar. I'm a therapist in private practice. I'm in the process of starting my own practice. This is all new for me. I would like to set up a call to talk about the steps I need to follow to make sure I'm doing things properly. Is this something you can help with? If so, when can we set up the call? And then you wait for their responses. And then finally, the last thing you can do on the day you start your private practice is to research and start playing around with EHRs or practice management solutions. This is going to be your home base, right? So this is going to be where you take notes, you see clients. It's basically your online practice. There's a whole bunch to choose from. If you want a couple recommendations just to get started to play around with, you can try out SimplePractice. They have a free trial. There's another one called Jane. This one is not known as well, but it's pretty good. It's called Jane Software. You can try that one out for free as well and play around with it. And then you can also check out others like ALMA, Therapy Notes, and things like that. And what you can do is sign up for the free trial, play around with it, give it a week or so, make sure it's a platform that you enjoy using, one that has all the features that you need. And if you want to know more about what features you do need, you're wondering, hey Matt, like what features do I need? I actually made a video all about how to choose an EHR. I'll leave a link to that down below in the description as well. And I think that's enough to get you through your very first day. This will get the ball rolling for you. If you wanted to start your private practice and you have a free day tomorrow, the things that we just went through will get the process started for you. And if you're ready to take the steps following that, go ahead to the link down below. Check out that video, the entire checklist that I've made. The video's in depth. You'll know what steps to take following this. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. And I hope you're even more motivated now than you were when you clicked on the video. And I'll see you in the next one.